Here we go. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Advocacy. Tonight, we are so excited to have Miss Candace Washington with us, and we're going to talk about something that is touching everybody: mental wellness. We did title this mental awareness for caregivers, but what we're finding today is that everybody has something that they're struggling with. So even though we, of course, this is about advocacy and we focus on our disability community, I think tonight what Candace is going to bring to the table is going to be a blessing and a help to everybody. So with that being said, we're just going to introduce Candace. Candace Washington is joining us, and we want to start with giving Candace, letting her take over. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Candace.
Yes, first of all, thank you all so much for having me. I've been looking forward to this all day because, as you said, we all collectively need a moment to just breathe, to just inhale and exhale collectively with everything going on around us. So, thank you all so much for having me. So, I'm a boy mom. That's first and foremost. I'm a boy mom. I have two amazing boys. Bryson, my oldest, he's 16. He actually will be turning 17 next Friday. He's been telling me about it all year as though I didn't birth him, myself. So he's like, you remember my birthday's next week, right? It's coming. I'm like, I think I remember. So his birthday is next Friday. He'll be 17. And then my youngest son, Braxton, he is 6. So before anything else, being a mom is my pride and joy. I am also a licensed clinical social worker. I'm a psychotherapist, and I'm also a production therapist. I'm the CEO and founder of Restorative Minds Therapeutic and Wellness Services located in Bowie, Maryland. And I'm also one of the founders for the Production Wellness House, which we serve clients in the entertainment industry, specifically television and film. And I'm also a minister. I am also an author, and I am a suicide survivor, and I am a United States Air Force veteran.
Listen,
Aren't you? I guess the list would have been a lot shorter if you told us what you weren't. Candace, oh my goodness. First of all, how do you find time to do half of the stuff that you do and manage your family?
It's really by the grace of God. I had to learn. I think, within our society, and within our family constructs, we are taught to prioritize, everyone and everything above self. So I had to hit rock bottom really to learn, if I'm honest. Right. I had to hit rock bottom to learn. And I had to realize that, prioritizing myself and my self-care and really ensuring that I'm well, it's not selfish, it's self-preservation. So now I have like the cup and saucer mentality where if you think about a cup that's connected to the saucer, I am the cup. And as God pours into me, as I pour into myself, everyone that's connected to me, everything that's connected to me are saucers. They receive the overflow, which is bountiful, which is abundant, which is great. And then what flows from that flows into the community, right? It flows, it spills over. But it took practice, it took time, it took a journey of really coming home to myself and finding myself and realizing that I need me too, right? So as I show up for my children, as I show up for my community, as I show up for my friends, as I show up for my clients, I cannot forget that I deserve that same pour, that same love, and that same support. So I have to give that to myself. And in order to really have a balance, it's a subjective experience. My balance may not be your balance. That's why I always tell people what may be tolerable for you may be terminal for me. And what may be tolerable for me may be terminal for you. That is an approach that I realize that daily I have to pour into myself. So every day I do something for myself because every day I show up as a mom, right? Every day I show up as a therapist. Every day I show up as a friend. Why wouldn't I show up for myself every day? So I love on myself every day, just like I love on everyone else.
That's good stuff, Candace. That's really good.
Yeah, I have to, because if I'm empty, how can I be of any service to anyone else? from a well place, right? From a
Yeah.
well place.
Yeah.
Because I know how to do it when I was suffering in silence. I learned, as Dr. Maya Angelou said, we know how to wear the mask well. I know how to wear a mask, but now I'm in a season of my life where I no longer want to pretend. I no longer want to exist in this world. I want to live, and I want others to do the same.
I love that. Wow.
Wow, that's a mouthful. I mean,
Yeah.
and I think if I don't know about Crystal and Bunny, but I'm sure that kind of sums up,
Yes.
what we've been talking about since we've been on advocacy is, taking care of ourselves, making sure that we take care of ourselves so that we can be that right and that person that gives the strength to everybody else. But a lot of the times, and I will say this,
Yeah.
it becomes mouth service sometimes because
Mhm.
we find that we don't always do it. It's like, okay, even for me, when I say, okay, I know I'm going to start, when I go get a massage, I'll be like, I'm going to start doing this at least once a month. And when that once a month come, I'm
Yep.
like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna get it the next month. And then when the next month comes, it's like I never do it. And so
Mhm.
I think it's just like when you have a marriage, when you have any type of relationship, you have to invest in it. But investing in that relationship is a great thing. But if you don't invest in yourself, how can you invest in any other relationship?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
How do you even start to invest in yourself when you're busy? You got busy work, you've got busy children, maybe your children have different challenges and abilities. How do you start to invest in yourself? Because that's where I need to start.
Yes. So, my oldest son, Bryson, he has intellectual disability. He was diagnosed at 3 with global developmental disability. And then as he became older, he received that diagnosis of intellectual disability. And through that journey of understanding what that means for him, because again, it looks different. Like two children can both, have autism, and it looks different,
Mhm.
right? So for me, it took realizing that in order to show up to meet the needs that he has, which is different from Braxton, because everyone is different. In order to do that, I have to be able to say, Candace, what are you lacking within yourself? How do you pour that into yourself so that you're not displacing, so that you're not projecting, so that you're not experiencing burnout? And the reason why I shared that about Bryson too, because that alone, before I even transition into my professional life, before I even transition, just being a mom,
Yeah.
right? And the responsibility, being a
Mhm.
grandma, being an aunt, right? Being a godparent, whatever your role is, that's a weighty responsibility alone. Now you got to tackle everything else on to that. Being able to first remember that everything flows from the mind. Our thoughts influences our feelings and emotions, which then show up behaviorally. I had to realize I was operating from a negative core belief of thinking I didn't deserve, that I wasn't worthy, because the activities, the engagement socially was there, is there. But being able to remind yourself that it starts here. What do I think about myself as it pertains to what it is that I'm pouring in? Do I see myself as worthy, as valuable? And I was asking myself those core belief questions and being able to say, wait a minute, the same thoughts that I have about others, I have to go within and sit with myself and say, wait a minute, I deserve that too. So once my mindset shifted around everything else shifted. So every day, at the end of my day, for sure, and at the beginning, I create my own sauna. I create my own sauna within my bathroom. And the boys know when mommy shuts that door and lock and you hear music and when you hear candles, that is my time. So in doing that, I also created that for them to see. So they know that I too am prioritizing myself just as though
Got to deserve you.
yes, it's that social learning, that observing behavior that they see. But again, it starts with you and starting small. It wasn't like I just jumped into things. Each day I said, What is it that I can do for myself? What is it that I need? Today, it may be physical self-care. There's this model. It's the 6 dimensions of self-care. It's physical self-care, emotional, psychological, professional, personal, and spiritual. Each day your being may require something different, but each day you should ask yourself, what do I need? And some days you may not know. And in those days, you just be still and allow it to just come to you. But starting small and saying, what can I do today? Do I just need to sleep in an extra 30 minutes if I'm able to? Do I need to take a walk? Do I need to eat my favorite meal? Do I need to listen to music? Do I need to phone a friend? Do I need to say no? That was one of the biggest things. I should have started there.
Yeah.
That was one of the biggest things, because I like to say I'm a recovering people pleaser.
Yeah.
A recovering people pleaser. So because of that, I had this in my mind of a false sense of what service and servanthood and service and love was, right? That at the expense of myself, I have to show up, at the neglect of myself, the abandonment of myself. And that heightens mental instability. So boundary setting too, a lot of times we don't even think about just being able to say, no, I can't, and checking in. Do I have the bandwidth? Do I have the social battery? Do I have the energy? Can I delegate? That was a huge one too, delegation. But putting those things into practice so that you can create more space and time to pour into yourself.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's a daily, and it's a daily choice. Daily choice. And we have to understand that sacrifice is different from neglect and abandonment. We're going to make some sacrifices for sure. And it doesn't have to transition into neglect and abandonment where you lose parts of yourself, because I lost myself in motherhood. I lost myself in work. I lost myself in that. But once you come back home to yourself and find yourself, it's a beautiful experience, because those connected to you get to experience that too.
Wow.
This is so powerful. I mean, even when you're saying like a recovering people pleaser, I just think of when I finally started to realize I didn't have boundaries. And I began to set them. I remember like it's how it started small, and it's hard when you're used to that. And I remember like knowing a girlfriend was moving. Now I'm a mom of 5 children, and they have different abilities. So I already have my hands full. But I knew a young lady was moving, and I remember like texting her like, hey, are you settled? Do you need any help? Anything I can help you with? I could come and help you. And then I just like pause and like delete. Hey, are you settled? Period. Like that. Like I never knew I overextended myself. Like it was so natural. And then if people need you, you said the word, I will abandon all like, hey, this person need me. Can you watch the kids? I'll be back. Or put them in the car. I'll just take them with me. Like I'm giving them like my all. And I just never realized. And when you said that word bandwidth, that's what I go with now. I don't have that capacity. Let me work with what I'm able to do. And so it was a lot. It took a lot to always keep like delete. I don't really want to say all of this.
But that's the process of unlearning and knowing that at every stage of our lives, I always say who you were in your 20s isn't who you are going to be in your 30s. Who you were in your 40s isn't going to be who you are in your 50s. Who you are in your 60s. It's a learning and unlearning, learning and unlearning, learning and unlearning. And even with the climate of the world and everything, going on, it's heavy. And we have to check in with ourselves and say, what is my bandwidth? So that I can show up for myself and my children? What is my bandwidth? So I can just focus and do my job. What is my bandwidth? And knowing that it's okay to disengage. We live in a society that is so overly stimulated. And we have become accustomed to it. So our nervous system has been trained to be overly stimulated. We've learned how to function in the dysfunction. But being able to really pull back and disengage and ask yourself those important questions, it shifts how you feel, and then it'll shift how you show up behaviorally. So we have to check in with ourselves. Again, especially with the climate of the world and this new administration and everything going on. We have to protect our ear gates and what it is that we see. And if you can't handle the news today, it's okay. Get a pillow, get a blanket, and rest.
Yeah.
There tomorrow.
And it's funny because that's one thing. I was a news person. I would watch the news every single day. If I didn't, I would always watch Lester Holt, if nothing else. And my husband was like, I don't want to see that. And it was so bad that I taped it and I would go back and look at all the days to keep up
Mhm.
with with everything. But I will say that once the election started, first of all, I get so sick and tired of all the commercials where everybody's telling you something about somebody else. And I'm like, don't tell me about anybody else. Tell me about you. And so I always like to tape stuff so I can go fast forward past all of that. But once the stuff started coming down with the election, and of course it's dirty and mean, and I stopped I stopped taping Lester Hall, and I have not watched the news, the world news, or any type of news like that in almost 6 or 7 months.
Mhm.
And what I started doing, I replaced it with, everybody knows I watch old shows. It's
Mhm.
almost like going back to the place where you were at peace. I don't know if anybody
Yes.
has experienced that when I
Yes.
was watching shows that my grandmother liked,
Comfort
when my
zone.
dad liked, that was like
Mhm.
simple joy, and it was nice humor. I
Mhm.
go back there and it's almost like I slipped back in time. And that I
Yes.
found that that's
So
something that really helps me. It really does.
helps. It helps. It's actually a distress tolerance skill. And
Oh,
our distress tolerance skills is how we take in information through our five senses. Because remember, I shared with you all before we jumped on here. The body keeps score, right? The body keeps score. So your mind may not always think, "What am I feeling?" But then your body responds to it. So when you think about those shows, to regulate our nervous system, we naturally take in information through our five senses. So if you take in negative information through your five senses, you're going to take the opposite positive in. So when you take in those comfort shows, it doesn't always 100% eliminate everything, but it helps to regulate. It helps to balance you. It helps to ground you, to center you. And that's really what we need, because that helps us with our attention, our clarity, our responsibilities. And then it also helps us when it comes to time management and, again, pouring into ourselves. So that's the distress tolerance skills. It's comfort shows.
wow. Well, you analyze me real nice.
Listen,
I can't
listen.
take the head off even if I wanted to.
Oh my gosh. I'm telling you.
But yeah,
It's
it's
amazing.
needed, because
Mhm.
we need us too. You know, like I always say,
Mhm.
we need us too. So we're also learning how to remove the cape.
Oh my God. I think all of
We're
us have
learning
on a
how to
case.
remove the
Yeah.
cape, because it's been passed down generationally. Like we've learned how to just put on the cape and be superwoman. But I always say being a superwoman is a fallacy. It was made up anyway. Someone said, "Oh, this is a good idea. Let me draw this."
Right, right.
Not even real. But we've adopted those characteristics. And that's one of the things too in navigating, motherhood with, children with different abilities, and just navigating that first question when you say, how do you do all of this? My time management is one of the biggest things, in taking off the cape and being able to say, what can I do today? What can I do? And what do I have control over? What don't I have control over? What do I need to release?
And when you look at your plate, sometime I would be honest. When I ask myself that question, everything on my plate looks so important.
Important.
Right,
It's
right.
like a Lego. It's what is it? No, what's
Yes.
the little game that if you pull one piece out, the whole thing tumbles
I know,
down?
it's like a block,
Jenga.
that block game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
it was Jenga. So for
yes.
me, I will say that I will say, and I don't know if my mom is listening, but I inherited a lot of my mom's characteristics. My mom was a single mom of four, and me and my brother were twins, and she had all of us a year apart. And all that I ever saw with my mom is hustle, hustle,
Yeah.
hustle. I mean, my mom was hustling. Even when we were younger and we could catch the bus, we would catch the bus. My mother would jump off, tell us, "Get on, I'm on this bus." My mom was always hustling or working, sitting down, coming up with a plan to figure out how to get through something. And I feel like for me, she always says you're more like me. I adopted that mindset because even when it comes to the house, if there's one thing out of place, I feel like if that thing is not in place, it's going to disrupt my whole day. And
Mhm.
so I find that, and sometimes I'll talk to myself and say, well, Paula, why do you have to have everything so perfect? But it's like when Morgan came, and I'm not definitely um attributing my daughter to imperfection, but in my mind, she was not that perfect daughter I envisioned myself having. So in
Mm.
my mind, I felt like a failure. And then I went in my mind to figure out what did I do to make this happen? Did I not take all the vitamins? I mean, you start going back to
Yeah.
figure out what didn't I do?
I went
to-
down that
Oh
same
my gosh.
I went down that same path.
Because it's
Mm,
so real.
Yeah, you start to question yourself and really practice negative self-talk and beating on your up on yourself.
Yeah.
Um, that is something that I believe for myself contributed to a lot of my early or unhealthy behaviors. And that's when a lot of my thoughts of worthlessness, I don't, I shouldn't be here, and maybe I'm not the best mom for him. Like, I had all of those irrational thoughts, and I think those thoughts come because, one, we're human, but it's also birthed out of expectation of what we thought life should look like, what we
Yeah.
our children should look like, what we think our occupational life should look like, what we think, instead of being able to shift and embrace and have that radical acceptance, which is hard, which is challenging. And I think going back to like the mental wellness and the balance of that is embracing duality, saying these are my feelings, these are my thoughts, but is it my truth? Knowing that I can feel this way and I also can embrace reality. So it's the duality of life. And that's what helps regulate things, being able to say, I can feel this, and there can also be another truth.
Wow.
And that's not easy. It's it's a practice, it's a lifestyle, it's a choice. Um, and it's something that you have to commit. Somebody said, talked about commitment. It's a commitment that you have to make to yourself, to say, I have the right to feel, but we have to regulate it because those feelings can show up in unhealthy ways behaviorally. I know for me, sometimes it caused me in the past to retreat from my children. It caused me to displace my anger, or my lack of understanding, of the different diagnoses and abilities, or just living life in the combination of everything. It becomes a mental fog, and you're just trying to make it through the fog and trying to figure it out and see a light somewhere. You're like, oh, that ain't a light, and you just trying to make, oh, that, you're just trying to figure it out. And I think the biggest thing is not allowing our feelings to rob us of our mobility, not allowing our experiences to rob us of our mobility, to being able to say, I may not know how to figure all of this out today, but there's tomorrow, there's the next day, there's community, and putting language on that. And that's why I have been so excited about joining you all tonight, because I believe transparency in these conversations really do heal.
Yeah.
And appreciate you all for being so vulnerable, because I was once that person on the other side of the screen, just wanting to grab hold of hope.
And that's what our listening audience want. They want to know that there's some sort of hope out there, especially during this time. So this is good stuff, Candace. We appreciate you being here and for you being transparent. We're an open book. We share our struggles, challenges. We share the highs and the lows. We want people to know that this is real life. The burdens, the trials, tribulations of caring for um, our kiddos with different abilities and challenges. It's all real life, and some of us are really just doing the best that we can do. So hope is definitely something that we hope our followers really get, that we are doing the best that we can do, and there's always hope. There's always hope.
And I do think that one thing that we stress, and I think we say this every show, you're not alone. I think that sometimes the hardest part about, and I can honestly say, out of everything that I had to deal with in life, being a caregiver to Morgan was kind of the hardest for me.
Hmm.
It was the hardest because um it was something that someone told me it was because you can't fix it. Because I'm a fixer. I'm always trying to fix something. Because I felt like I can't fix this, that's when it became like I just felt like out of control, like almost like detached from it because it was something that I could not fix. I'm
Yeah.
not used to having anything that I cannot fix. I can put anything together. You give me something, it's a challenge for me. I'm gonna put it together. One thing that the doctors asked when when I had my daughter, and we had to meet with all of the cardiologists, the neurologists, they had a table full of people waiting for me and my ex-husband. And they asked when they gave us everything that they had worked up, they did all the workup on her, and they asked me, did I have any questions? And I said, how do we fix this? They looked at each other. They was like, this is her genetics. This is not something that you can fix. And I always that took me, I went through that period. That was such a hard thing for me because
Yeah.
I have been naturally a fixer. And to know that my daughter needed me. She cried at different times. She and I didn't know what to do. It weighed on me mentally. It did.
Mhm. And it does. I think it goes back to what it is that you shared. How do we fix this? And what do you do when you can't fix it?
Mhm.
Where does your mind go when you can't fix it? When you have to just accept it? And it goes back to that duality of allowing yourself to feel the frustration of that, the emotions of that, and giving yourself permission to grieve.
Oh my gosh. That's
Giving yourself permission to grieve what it is that you hoped for, what it is that you was expecting. And I think that is something, because we're human. We
Hmm.
are human. We have our feelings, our emotions, our thoughts. Giving yourself permission to grieve so that you can keep beating, so that you can keep going, and so you
mhm.
don't get stuck in something that you can't change. And it's the duality of that is, it's so healthy to saying, I have a right to feel sad about this,
Yeah.
Yes.
emote about this. I even have the right to not be okay right now about this. Does not mean I'm not grateful to
Mhm.
be their mom. Does not mean I'm not grateful that I was able to birth life. Doesn't mean that I'm not grateful. Doesn't mean that we're not going to figure this out as a family. But what it does mean is that I cannot neglect what I feel and put on a mask and pretend like I don't feel, because then it's going to show up somewhere else.
That's it right there. When it shows up somewhere else and in some other type of manner.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it does. And you may not can always call it, but it shows up, whether that's physically, whether that's emotionally, whether that's mentally, whether that's even spiritually, right? Well, God, this is what you told me and this is what I thought. We don't talk about that spiritual trauma when you try to project your humanity onto God and then expect something in return, right? Being able to say, I'm human. And I think one of the scriptures that I love when Jesus models this is in the Garden of Gethsemane, when he says, take this cup of suffering from me. A lot of times we talk about the latter part when he says, yet let thy will be done. Not my will, but your will. But the first part was his humanity. Take this away from me, or let's
Mhm.
figure this out.
Mhm.
But because you can't take this cup away from me, then let thy will be done. And that's one of the things I had to transition my mindset to say, I'm the best mom for Bryson.
That's
I'm the
right.
best mom for him. No one else can love and nurture and protect and be there
Yes.
for him like I can. But was that an overnight thought? Oh
Yeah.
no, I was really
Not at all.
figuring
But
some
we all
things
got
out.
I was like, you got the wrong one. I was
I
like,
was like, I
I'm
was
gonna be
trying to like
honest.
go to Johns Hopkins and try all these different. I was trying to figure it out.
Yes. I
I
think you'd
was
be
trying to.
like, I can't do this or I can't handle this. This isn't,
Yeah,
are you sure you want me to do this? But you're so right.
yes.
Wow.
And now 17 years like later, I'm like, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yes.
Would I say that it's been highs and lows? Yes. Would I say that it's been emotional roller coasters? Yes. Would I say that I did everything right? No. I had to learn as I go. I had to unlearn as I go. But one of the things I can say is that I made the decision to keep going. Right.
I
And
like
when
Yes.
it comes to community and sharing resources and sharing the frustration and sharing the thoughts, me and my best friends for over 20 years, we call each other after the IEP meetings. We text each other. I got an IEP meeting today, so we know, right? To be on post, we know like our sister's gonna need a little love today because
um,
those meetings can be draining,
Yes.
Yes.
right? We know we have to have them. We know our babies. We know that. But when you're constantly hearing the what they're not doing and then what they are
Yes.
doing, but then let's go back to what they're not, it can be psychologically draining for anyone. It can be emotionally draining. So it goes back to again, Ms. Bonnie, like what is it that you're thinking about yourself? So I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, these are the areas that lacks what resources because I'm an amazing mom. So I have to go back to that thought so that what I'm hearing doesn't cause me to shift my mindset around that thought because then it's going to show up behaviorally. Like, okay, but it took time and practice, but I was in that fix mode. I
that's
was
what me.
I
Fix
was in
it.
that
Fix
blame
it.
mode,
Mhm.
blaming myself like
Mhm.
did I not do X, Y, and Z? And God was just like, no, this is how I handed him to you.
Wow, that is so amazing. But Candace, and I know as we talk about being whole, there are some of us that are, we're still lacking. We've got everything going on in the federal workforce now. Or what could you say to someone that's worried about the job? She still got to care for her child with different abilities, and it's just so much pressure right now. What could you say to that mom that will give her just a little bit more hope that tomorrow is gonna the sun is gonna shine a little brighter?
Yeah, I love that you said that. And as I was listening to you, one of the things that I thought about is what we were speaking of earlier as it pertains to taking off the cape, right? Taking that cape off and knowing that it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to say, I'm unaware of tomorrow, the uncertainty, especially with this administration. I feel like every day we wake up and it's a new executive order, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Every day it just seems like something else is coming down. And I always say we can be proactive the best way we can to the best of our abilities without being reactive as much and being able to come up with a plan of care, come up with some resources, reach out to your community and being able to say, I'm uncertain about tomorrow. I don't know how that's going to look for me, but share your community village resources, share things with me, and that helps again regulate right with the uncertainty because we don't know what tomorrow holds, but
Yeah.
being able to not suffer in silence, but
Mhm.
being able to say there's uncertainty here and I may need resources, I may need support, but then also prioritizing self-care through the uncertainty. Uncertainty doesn't mean that you push yourself to the wayside. When I always say when things turn up in our lives, we have to turn up with them. Meaning
I
as
like
that
it.
as that uncertainty turns up, your self-care has to turn up with it. right? So just as the stressors of life increase, your stress management skills, your distress tolerance skills, your self-care, it has to increase, because if it doesn't, then you have an imbalance.
Balance.
Oh, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not suffering in silence, increase your self-care and putting language on your experiences, because there is that uncertainty there, that you have to be realistic and say, do I have control over that? But what do I have control over? Let me be proactive. Let me put a plan into place, and let me not suffer in silence, and let me pour into myself.
I like that.
Oh my gosh. I think Candace, like just this evening before we got on, just talking to some other moms and just saying how the week has just been very stressful. And sometimes you think it's just you. Maybe it's just my life, just this week. But then I'm just talking to other women. Hey, buddy. Just talking to other women, and they were saying the same thing. And I was like, well, you know what? I mean, like my husband travels a lot for work, and he was away. And I think, I've had meetings, behavior issues, and everything. And I was like, you know what? For some reason, I don't know if it's my hormones or what, but I just needed a nap every day. I was like, the kids coming home. I'm like, oh Lord, it's going on 7:00. Y'all want some ramen tonight? And I love it. My boys be like, yay, ramen. Can I get a corn dog? I'm like, whoa, you asked for the most simplest thing. Like, because I just was really feeling it, and I was moving slower. I felt like I took like some kind of pill that's making me move in slow motion this week. And so just knowing that I wasn't alone, just people dealing with life. Like you said, a lot of people are dealing with many uncertainties on different levels. And people were like, girl, you took a nap? I did too. I just had to take a break and go get my car, whatever they had to do. So I really appreciate that you just shared that and said that out loud. Like when we feel those stressors getting high, like we have to ramp up that self-care, but what we know here on Advocacy, that is the hardest thing for any caregiver. That is the hardest thing for any parent, anyone caring for a person that need additional assistance to take care of themselves. And honestly, Candace, they don't know how it looks. A lot of times they're like, I can't. What are you talking about? Oh, that's a luxury. And they are overwhelmed, and so what are some things? Some people just can't envision it. Like, how does that even look? Oh, you can go grab a bite to eat. Oh, we could never, and like you were saying earlier, like what maybe work for you might not work for someone else. But some people don't even have a running start, Candace. And I was wondering if you can kind of help us out with that.
Yes, I think it's being able to be realistic of your world. Right? Being realistic of your world and being able to find pockets of support. That support may be time. That support may be identifying who's accessible and have the capacity within your village. That may be being intentional, right? When it comes to taking time off, if you have it, right? Sometimes we have PTO and we don't want to use it. So it's being able to say, what do I have control over? What can I employ? And being intentional with it, starting out small. If you only have that first hour of the day before you wake up the children, utilize that. If you only have your lunch break, let's say realistically, you're like, Candace, I don't have the time and I don't have the support and I have to work every day. If you get that hour lunch break, make that hour count. Make that hour count. You can do so much within that hour. It starts with how you're seeing it, because that is some people's, truth. Candace, I don't have support. I am living here all by myself. I am the only person, if my child gets sick, I have to leave work. Being able to say, what do I have control over? And being intentional. So getting a journal and writing a schedule and say, what does my everyday look like? Monday through Sunday. What does the kids' schedule look like? What does my schedule look like? And then start highlighting pockets of time. It could be 15 minutes here, 30 minutes here. Some days I only have 30 minutes. Some days I may have 15 minutes. Some days I have an hour. Some days I have more. But the thought is what causes the behavior to come forward. What can I do in that 15 minutes? You know what? I need a laugh. Let me call this person. What can I do in this 30 minutes? I can watch my favorite show. What can I do in this hour? I can go get my favorite meal. You know,
That's good.
yes, sometimes you can have an hour. So that is something that, because he knows when I get off of here, I'm going to have my hour, right? So it's being able to say that. It's being able to adjust. What if you can't let the kids stay up all night? What if that's the only time you have? Then you have to be able to shift time so that you can have that time to pour into yourself and looking forward to it. But it is starting small. It could be just journaling, right? It could be self-care as it pertains to putting your feelings into writing form. It could be, I heard we talked about pampering. That's just a part of self-care. Pampering, getting, your hair done, massages. Pampering isn't the only ideology around self-care. It's boundary setting, being able to say no so that you can pour into yourself. Going back to the people pleasing, is being able to say, I could say yes to this, but I really need to say yes to myself today because I had a week, I had a day. Those shifts in behavior really helps you shift in how you pour into yourself.
It does.
Thank you.
Yes, it does.
It does. Yeah, and I will say, as a single mom,
This is a real show.
yes,
It's
bring
real.
it, bring them
And
on.
it's okay.
Yes.
It's okay.
Yes. Yes. And I think that's one of the biggest things is realizing that it's okay and being flexible and being able to adjust day to day, because again, it looks different, right? There's a lot of like illnesses going around like flu and streps and everything. So my whole day shifted, right? I had to ensure he seems like he has a lot of energy right now, but earlier he wasn't feeling good. But I was committed to showing up tonight, right? So I had to be able to shift. When it comes to our self-care and really mental wellness and balancing, it's being okay with the shifts, but being able to say, I have to shift inward just as much as I shift outwardly. So
I like
because
that.
I had to
I that.
I like that.
Repeat
yeah,
that.
because I mean, and we're all moms and everyone that's in the comments, so I had to shift tonight. I'm being honest and being transparent. I had to shift tonight because this wasn't my original plan, right? Yeah, yes. I had to shift, but I brought up this example because just like I had to shift externally tonight, I have to be able to have that same shifts inwardly. And that's
What
really
did that look like, Candace?
you are a perfect example of the cup and the saucer. Like, because of the pour that we have to give to our children and how flexible we have to be, right? I committed to showing up for advocacy tonight, right? We have to commit that same responsibility for ourselves, even if our plans doesn't go as we thought. It still didn't stop me from showing up tonight.
Right.
So why should that stop us from showing up for ourselves?
Right.
So with you showing up for yourself, not only did you come on to advocacy, because one thing that we do know, and people, for those that don't realize it, sometimes when you're going through, sometimes it's a great thing just to talk about it.
Yep.
Yes, to release it, to put
Yes.
language on things. And sometimes
pain.
people, when you're in community, people don't always want solutions.
No.
Right.
We say that,
And that
yes.
goes into our, being a fixer. Everyone doesn't always want solutions. Sometimes people just want to have space to be vulnerable, but then also to have space to allow each other to see one another. Meaning, when you think about intimacy, right? Intimacy is into me, you see. Intimacy. Into me, you see. When you have someone that trusts you, and you're like, I just want to get this out. You are giving someone permission to see you. This is an intimate space. We have been so vulnerable. he was running around about. I said, just come on, just sit in my lap. It is
Yeah.
what it's an
Yeah.
intimate space, right? So you all see me now as a what? In mom mode,
Mom. Yep.
right? Intimacy, into me, you see. So when we call someone and we're sharing our truths, we're giving them permission to see us. Intimacy, into me, you see. And sometimes we don't want to be seen. We rather suffer
Mm-mm.
in silence because that is what we have learned generationally. We can go all the way back to slavery. If I put language on it, that could be my life. So I have to suck it up. But now we're living in a world, and that's why I love advocacy and the work that you are doing. Now we're living in the world to say we're no longer passing down generational trauma. Now we're passing down generational healing. This is
Yes,
what healing,
Yes. Yes.
that's right. I
this is
Yes.
love
what
that.
healing looks like.
Yes.
Being able to say, wait a minute, I don't have to just come on and speak and try to make, no, 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 no. I can be myself and
Yes.
say, I can still deliver a message even with him on my lap because I'm okay
Absolutely.
with being seen. I
That's
don't
right.
have to put on this facade or this mask of like,
You got it
no,
all together. Like I got it all together.
We hear,
no.
we hear you're
And I
saying
think if
if
I'm
you
honest,
get off the beat.
if I'm honest, I think this is the first time I've ever spoke and he just came on in and I'm like, just,
Just come
I
on.
would
I
have
know
Come
in
that's
the
on.
right.
past, I would have texted Bryson, come get your brother. Come, I'm trying to work, come get your brother. Come get your, I'm like, no,
I
because
love it.
I'm
I'm not
glad
gonna go,
you.
but
I'm glad
that's
you
the
guys
truth.
come in. Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
love
but
it.
that's the thing. But it starts here because we talked about the thoughts, right? The thought was, oh my gosh, I don't want to look like I'm unprofessional. Oh my gosh, this is embarrassing. Oh my gosh, he's playing with my light. Oh my gosh, let me get off. But it's just like, no, no,
This is
no.
what
So
it
it's like,
is.
what do you think? What do you think about yourself? No, I'm a mom. That doesn't shut off,
Right. That's
right?
right.
So we have to get into that space of taking off our mask and just being honest so we can breathe, so we can really come home to ourselves. And so many of us suffer in silence because we're not ready to take that mask off yet. We're not ready to take that cape off yet. We're not ready to say, I need support. I need help. I don't know where to start, right? Having those vulnerable conversations, Paula, I don't know where to start. Well, hey, start off small. What time do you have? I only have an hour. Use that hour. Here are some of the things in your neighborhood. Here are some of the things by your job that you can do.
I was so small
Right?
and hard when I'm at school playing soccer.
Yeah.
Boy, isn't that so nice when you got the care? You don't have no care in the world. Isn't that nice?
But
I
and
love it.
that's what that's really where it starts. It starts
Mhm.
with the mind. What do you think? Because our thoughts influence our feelings, which then influences our emotions, which then influences our behavior, and then it goes back. Our behavior can influence what we think, right? So it's really being able to understand if for everyone that we need us too.
Oh my
We need
God.
us too. And being able to say, if I have to move some things around in my day to pour into myself, that's what I have to do because we do that for our children.
Oh my goodness, we sure do.
We move the world for them. Why can't we move the world for ourselves?
You are.
Because I
We
think
have
it
the
goes
ability
back
to
to
move the world,
guilt.
right?
Yeah, it goes back to that guilt of
Mhm.
I shouldn't do this for myself. I need to save all my time and energy for something else
Mhm.
to pour into
Yes.
our children, our jobs, something else.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
you
it's
know
the
the thing.
mindset shift. Like I had to shift the hierarchy in my life and being able to say, I have to pour into myself first so I can better pour into them.
But
So
you
I
know
can
the thing
better pour
about
into
it. One thing that I keep hearing you talk about is the mask, and I
mm-hmm,
agree with that because I wore masks for years.
mm-hmm,
Um, but another thing I want to just elaborate on is feeling being in a place or an environment where you feel comfortable taking off the mask because I think that sometimes I know for me it wasn't that it was always everybody that made me uncomfortable, but I felt uncomfortable. But I was just like, if I really take off my mask and I really show them why how I'm struggling and what I'm going through, I don't think I used to tell my sister, I said, I think that they're gonna think that I'm gonna jump off the bridge. And I'm like, I'm not.
Yes.
Sometimes I just
Yeah.
sometimes these people can put labels on you, and it's not, believe me, it's nothing against people, because I think that's sometimes what we have shown people, and we try to keep up this persona of who we are, and
Yeah.
instead of just saying it's time to take off the mask and the cape. And that's I did tell Candace before we got on, this is where advocacy started. It
Yeah.
started because I was like, I suffered in silence for so long. And I was
Yes.
like, thank God I didn't lose my mind, or I didn't try to take my
Mhm.
life in any way.
Yeah.
But everybody doesn't have that testimony. So how
Yeah.
do we come out and tell everybody, number one? And during those times, I felt alone. That's the worst
Mhm.
place to be, is when you feel
Yes.
alone. You're looking to the left, to the right. And I would say, well, maybe I could call this person. I was like, nah, they got a lot on their plate. Well, maybe you should call this person. Well, no, because they wouldn't understand. It was always a reason why I didn't call the
Mhm.
person. But I
Mhm.
don't want anybody else to go through that and
Yeah.
Yeah.
feel as though they're alone. It's
Yeah.
hard.
And realizing that we're not, you know, our experiences will cause us to feel like we are.
Ooh.
And I always say we have to gauge each other's capacities and being able to say in acts, right? Yes, in acts. That's one of the things that I do with friends now. What is it that you need? What is it that you're looking for? Right? I don't want to come trying to be the fixer, this bring solutions, unless that's what you're seeking. Right? What that does is that creates safety. That
Yeah.
creates safety. There's a terminology that I know you all are familiar with because it's very heavily used. Safe place, right? Safe place, safe space. Everyone is in a safe space. Every place isn't safe. Being able to identify that for you, it first starts with trusting yourself to say, I'm worthy of support. I'm deserving of help. And when you start to do that and start to share, I always say our body responds. You ever been in a place and you're like, I can't put my finger, but something ain't right in this space, or something ain't right about her. Some, I don't know what it is, but it's something. But I'm not gonna stick around to find out either.
Uh-huh.
Right? Is being able to trust that. And it's the same way when you meet someone that's safe. Your nervous system just relax. When you leave conversations, how do you feel? Do you feel discouraged or do you feel encouraged?
I feel anxiety.
I'm right there with you, Bryson. I'm right there. It's
Bryson
uncomfortable.
says he feels anxiety.
I feel
So,
that right now.
okay, we're gonna talk about it when I get off.
I'm, I'm telling you.
But it is, but that's a good thing that you said because it does cause anxiety to really open up with someone. It really does can cause anxiety when you open up with someone because it causes you to worry. What are they gonna think about me? Are they gonna see me as less than? Are they gonna think that I can't, raise my children? Are they thinking that I'm gonna fall apart? But being
Mhm.
able to trust yourself and say, the person that sees you that is safe
I'm thinking about
wouldn't
changing
even
my
think that.
room.
Wouldn't even think that. But it starts with us because we can't project that onto others if we don't first open up our mouths.
Wow. Wow.
That's what. No,
You know?
you do that. You do that every
I feel
second.
like we have just scratched the surface of just that whole mental part, because I think this could be something that we talk about over and over again, because it can go in so many different directions.
Yes.
Um, yeah, we it can go in so many different directions, and I think, like you say, even as autism, that spectrum is so
Yes.
wide, and it's like that with our mental health. I think that everybody is dealing with it in a different way, and
Yes.
everybody needs something different.
Different.
Um, Yeah.
Can I piggyback on that?
Hmm.
As a
I want to
therapist,
piggyback.
I always say therapy isn't for everybody. And I'm a therapist and I say that. You have to identify what works for you. Okay. Therapy may not be it for you. It could be in community. I heard a psychiatrist who prescribes medication. She said the best medicine is human connection, is relationships.
Wow.
She said that's the best medicine that anyone can have. It's because, again, it goes back to you feeling alone and realizing that you're not at the end in community and
Hmm.
having that village, having that network, being able to say what works for me. It may not be sitting down with someone like me. It may be every time advocacy goes live, I'm going to be on. I'm going to be intentional. I'm going to dedicate this 8 o'clock hour for myself because I know when I get on here, I'm going to receive.
Yeah.
It could be I'm going to put myself out there and start fostering relationships and not allowing past unhealthy relationships to dictate the fact that I deserve safe and healthy relationships. Being
Hmm.
able to say, what is it that I need? And allowing yourself the ability, because our healing is our responsibility.
Wow, you just keep
It's
dropping
our
nuggets
responsibility.
everywhere.
I am in a real relationship.
It's our responsibility. So there is something that we just have to be intentional with and intentional about. And again, like I said, as much as we move things around and we shift and we stay committed to our external responsibility, we have a responsibility to self. We have a responsibility to self and not losing yourself because of those external responsibilities. I'm still going to have my hour when I get off of
I'm
here,
not.
I
right?
know that's right.
Because I shifted everything and I'm going to continue to shift, but I'm going to continue to pour, right?
Wow.
I'm going to continue to show up, but I'm going to continue to show up for me too.
It was supposed to be.
Love this.
This
So,
has
I
been
mean,
so awesome. Oh my
it's,
goodness.
it's something that, again, we have to take the responsibility and accountability for and say, I deserve
I have a
this.
girlfriend.
Ooh.
I deserve this. I deserve this. So that's something that we have to be intentional about. And I'm just so grateful for all three of you because, our mental health, we have a responsibility to take care for it, take care of it. And when we think about it, is being able to say, I can't afford. That's one of the shifts. I can't afford not to take care of myself anymore because I know what it has been like when I didn't.
Yep.
Right. That's right.
Wow. Well, I could tell you one
So,
thing.
yeah,
You
show
dropped
up
a
for yourself.
lot of nuggets. You
Yes,
have,
you have.
oh my goodness. I don't know if you saw this.
Out.
This is one of our newest team members, Keisha. And she wrote on it like Candace must come back. And I agree because there's so many. We didn't get to talk about the medication side. I wanted to ask that. So I would like to definitely have you to come back because I do want to
Yes, please.
dive into that portion of it, and because so many people I hear you talk about from your spiritual side, so many people on the spiritual side are against medication. So I would definitely, we don't have enough time to dive into it now, and I don't want to speed through it.
Yeah.
But I do want to say I really appreciate you coming on. And one thing, when we were off, we were just kept saying we were so excited this today to talk about this because I think again this is something that we all have talked about and we struggle with it. I struggle with my daughter's 20 and sometimes I still struggle with it. But I do some of the advice that you've given, I've definitely taken that over the years. I've kind of, I don't know where it came from, but I always would kind of practice some of these things along the way. But ultimately, when I fell down, I got back up and I just kept going. So I think parents, I think one thing you're doing, one thing you're saying on here is for the parents that don't think that they're the best parents or don't think that they've made the best choices or they feel like they failed at this, don't stay there. Get up. You're not alone. You're not alone. And I think that's the biggest takeaway I want everybody to understand from advocacy is you're not alone. We all have faltered. We all have failed. We all feel like we haven't been the best parents, but that does not take away from the fact that guess what? I'm still here. I'm parenting Morgan. I'm looking out for her because God has entrusted her to me. So with that being said, those are my closing remarks. I'm going to give them chances and my co-host to say something, and then Candace, we're going to let you close us out.
Candace, go get Bryson.
I'm gonna go get your brother real quick. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
This has just been really awesome. I have just soaked up a lot of what Candace has shared with us on this evening. And I really appreciate her taking her time, spending her evening with us, sharing us, with her family. And I think that I felt like I didn't get to ask some questions, but I really wanted to keep hearing what she was saying. So it was just
Don't worry, I'll be
really
back.
good.
Good.
Oh, yes, this has been just beautiful. And thank you, Keisha.
Yes, Keisha, thank you.
Yeah, I have definitely enjoyed everything. I was trying to write stuff down, set boundaries, be able to shift. We are responsible for our healing. Find time to find your supportive village. Take time off. Be intentional. Make your time count. Practice self care and start a journal. I really try to take in all the nuggets because this is an area where I fill others' cups and my cup is often empty. However, God does provide and allow for me to be able to feel others. But there comes a time, and there needs to be a mental shift with us as moms, as caregivers, to step back and to really consider ourselves. And it's a lot that Candace has said that made me really think there's my buddy, Bryson. You on mute, Candace.
My apologies. So this is my oldest, Bryson. He will
Hi,
be
Bryson.
17.
Come on now.
You're gonna be 17. I know you've been telling me your birthday is February. You've been telling me.
Well, when is February 1st and then February 7th? Bro, stop.
Good to see y'all. Oh, go ahead, Candace. You can give your last remarks.
Yes, so I just appreciate all of you all for having me. I will be back. I'm committing myself to come back. I just am so grateful for this space, and I hope that you all have taken away from this time together that you deserve yourself, meaning you deserve what it is that you pour into others. You deserve that. And restructuring the hierarchy of your life and being able to say it doesn't make you less than, it actually makes you more of, because now you have more to give because you poured into yourself. And knowing that it's not selfish, that it's self-preservation, because we do so much and we're going to continue to. We're going to continue to show up. We're going to continue to love. We're going to continue to nurture. But we have to also nurture those things within ourselves, knowing that we're deserving of joy, knowing that we're deserving of excitement, knowing that we're deserving of rejuvenation and relaxation. And that helps ground our nervous system. That helps regulate the mind and the emotions, so that we have the mental, the emotional, the psychological, the spiritual, the physical capacity. When we're rested, we can better show up. So it's about showing up with more when we pour into ourselves. So again, our children, our jobs, everything is an extension of us. We are the cup. They are the saucers, and they get the abundance. You are the cup in your life, right? You're the cup in your life. I'm the cup in my life. So that is something that we have to, a skill that we have to employ. And when we do that, we just show up with more. So because I have more mental capacity, more rest, more leisure, more pleasure in my life, I can show up and give that to them even more.
Yeah, I love it.
Even more. But the healing, the joy, that's our responsibility. That is our responsibility. So I appreciate all of you all. I appreciate y'all for really being there and supporting me tonight with these two amazing boys.
I know that's right.
But I think that that is something that I want you all to take away, knowing that it's okay to breathe, it's okay to show up authentically, and taking off the mask, taking off
Oh,
the mask,
yes.
because that's something that has been passed down generationally, and now we're passing down generational healing, and this is what healing looks like.
Yeah.
Candace, too, also, before you leave, can you put in the comment section if someone would like to contact you, if they did want your services, is it possible that you can put in the comment section? And if you don't do it here, you can do it on Advocacy's page, your contact information. Because again, that man, I'm telling you, you are a wealth of encouragement, knowledge. I mean, just a wealth. I think you could really help a lot of people just with your encouragement alone, and then your listening ear and your experience.
Yeah.
So yes, please put that in the comment section so that
Yes, so I'll
people,
put it on Advocacy's page for sure.
okay, so
I'll
people can know how to reach you.
put in it there. Yes, so I'll do that for sure. For sure. Yes.
Okay.
You
Well,
provide counseling services as well, right?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, we will see you the next time, Candace, because we would love to have you back on the show. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. We do know that it's going to be additional comments. Everybody, I knew some people that wanted to attend and they couldn't. So what we'll do is do our best to, a lot of times you'll have comments after the fact. So we'll do our best to address as many of the comments as possible. But everybody, we thank you so much. We thank you for your two bundles of joy for showing up and blessing us with their presence. Thank you, guys. We thank you so much. And happy birthday in advance, Bryce.
What are you talking about?
She said,
It's your birthday, right?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay.
Thank you.
only thing he heard was Advance and Bryson.
Thank
Right,
you.
right. Right.
Well,
My 360
everybody
buddy.
everybody have a wonderful evening and a great weekend. We will see you next week again with another episode of Advocacy. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.